Hello everyone, in today's video I'll show you how to crochet this tote bag. I hope you will enjoy this video. If you do, don't forget to hit subscribe, like this video. And just before we go into the video, I wanted to say that this is a pretty simple tutorial because it's only a single crochet and couple of decrease stitches. You will need to change color. I will leave some of the examples on how you can do this in the description, where you can either carry your tails in or have it floating on the wrong side. But I will leave better tutorials on how to do that. They will be more detailed, and once again it's going to be in the description below. But yeah, let's get into the video. And to make this bag you will need 2 color cotton yarn in weight aran, and you will need 3 balls of 50 grams of each color, so 6 balls, 3 in one color and 3 in other. Then 4.5mm hook, needle and pair of scissors. And to start off you want to make a slip knot, which you can do by making this loop and then grabbing your tail through. Put your hook in and chain 41. To chain, yarn over and put that hook through the loop, yarn over, pull it through, and so on until you have 41 in total. And this is how your chain will look like at the end. And now for row 1 you want to place 40 single crochets, so you skip the very first one and go into the second one there with a single crochet. So put your hook in, yarn over and come back, yarn over, pull through 2, and this is what you will be repeating till the end of your row. And when you complete your first row, you then want to chain 1 to begin your second one, and you will do repeat of row 1 another 10 times until you have a total of 11 rows. So starting with that first stitch, go in, pull up a loop and yarn over, pull through 2, and repeat doing single crochet in all of the stitches until you have 11 rows. So I'll finish mine and I will meet you at the end. And once you complete your 11 rows, this is how it will look. Then you will need to chain 1 at the end, turn your work, and do 5 single crochets, starting into the first one there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and don't pull through the 5th one. Leave the 2 loops like this because we will change color. So don't cut this one off, just grab your next color and pull it through, just like this. And now with the tails, there is one way where you can carry your tails in or leave them floating on your wrong side, so I'm going to show you both. So if you want to hide your tails doing your stitches, you want to go into the next stitch and have your tails on top of your hook, just like this. And when you complete your stitch, your tails get carried into the stitches on the wrong side. So one more time. And if you always keep your tails on your hook, they will simply be carried in. And then another method to do this is to basically leave them at the back. So you would go in with your single crochet into the next stitch and do 5 single crochets in your new color, just like that. And you can see that I left my tails on the back. You don't want to pull through the last stitch, so the 5th one, because we will change color. So just grab the pink one and pull it through, just like that. And you can see that this color here stays at the back just like this. So instead of it being weaved in, carried in, it just floats on the wrong side. And this is great if you're planning on sewing lining into your bag, so that when you do sew it in, those ends and tails are not visible at all. But if you're not planning on sewing it, you can just simply carry your tails under your stitches. So it's up to you what you want to use. I will be leaving them floating because I also feel like the stitches come out more clean than when you do carry your tails in. And now these stitches will be the ones that you will be repeating. So 5 single crochets in one color, 5 single crochets in the other. So I've just changed to my primary color, and I will do 5 single crochets without pulling through the 5th one to change color. So I'm just leaving the 2 loops, grabbing my yarn and pulling it through. Then again, 5 single crochets, change it back to the 1st color by pulling it through those 2 loops, and this is what you will need to repeat till you reach this end of your stitch. So keep doing those 5 stitches in each color, and I will meet you when I'm at this point. Now when you are at the end of this top row, don't pull through the last loop as always, as we will be changing color, and you should have 8 blocks of those stitches in different colors, because each of them is 5 stitches and you have 40, so 8 of them in total. Then you want to change to your next color, and we will now continue along the side. So along the side you will need to place 10 stitches in total, so 5 of them in one color and 5 of them in your next. So straight into the first spot, I'm doing my first single crochet, another one, third one, fourth, and my 5th one. I'm not pulling through as always because I'm changing color now. And 5 stitches in this color as well. And as you can see, I've got exactly 10 stitches up until this spot there. So I'm just gonna change color. And you will now need to repeat the same exact bit. So this long one, but into the foundation chain, and then 10 stitches for this side. So let me quickly finish this one off along with the side, and I will meet you at this point. And just remember that you will have 8 blocks along the long one, 5 stitches each color, and then you will have 10 on this side as well. And once you finish this part one more time, this is how it will look. Once again, for the long sides you will have 8 of these 5 stitches each, and for the short sides only 2 5 single crochet each, and your total stitch count will be 100. Now once you come to this very first single crochet of the round, do not join it in round, instead chain 1 and turn your work. And the reason why we are not doing this in rounds, because when you crochet in rounds, the stitches, they shift a bit and we wouldn't be able to achieve clean straight squares. so we will be working in rows instead, and at the end we will have to join both of those sides together. So once you chained one, you want to turn your work and do 5 single crochets in that same color. On the 5th one, drop your yarn, pick up the new one, and change color to do another 5 single crochets. Then again, drop your color, bring the new one, and just like so, you will be doing the same color above the one that you have. So always green above the green, pink above the pink, or whatever colors you have, until you come all around to this same spot here. So you will crochet 100 stitches around, changing color every 5 stitches, making sure that you've got the same exact color. So let me do that, and I will come back at the end to show you what to do next. And now when you come all around, chain 1, turn your work, and this is how it will look. And now you will need to repeat this row 3 more times, doing the same color above the one that you have. So above green it's green, above pink it's pink for me. Obviously you might have different colors, but just do the color that you have before. So do 100 of single crochets for the next 3 rows, doing the same color you have for the row before, so that basically your squares are 5 rows high. I'm gonna do mine and I will meet you then. Once you finish the 5 rows of single crochets, this is how it will look. On your last stitch, you will need to change color to the opposite one, because for the next 5 rows we will do opposite color. So on top of this I'll do pink, on top of that one I'll do green, and it's gonna be another 5 rows. So it's to create that checkered pattern, we will need to do the opposite color now. So I'm just gonna change my color, then chain 1, and I will be now doing the opposite color. So starting with that very first stitch, I'll do 5 single crochets, on my 5th one I'll change to the opposite color, and then I will do 5 single crochets, and I will keep repeating those 2, going all around, having opposite color this time. And your stitch count will remain 100. It's just, as you can see, we're starting to work on our new color square. So do 5 rows in this color now, and I will meet you at the end. Just don't forget, when you complete your 6th row, which is the one I'm working now, you will then be working on the color. So you will do pink above pink, green above green. I hope this makes sense, but yeah, just do the 5 rows, and I will meet you once I do mine. And once you have finished your another 5 rows, this is how it will look. The same will be on the other side. If you're carrying your tails in, it's not gonna look like mine. Once again, I will be adding lining, so this will cover up. But basically, once you've done these first 10 rows, you will need to repeat this bit 2 more times, and then repeat row 1 to 5 one more time so that you have 35 rows all together. So do that and I will meet you then. And once you finish your 35 rows, this is how it will look. So these were the rows that we did first, and you repeated it one more time, then one more time, and one more time of that row 1 to 5. So in total this is 35 rows, not counting the 11 rows for the base. But then on your last stitch you want to chain 1 and finish off with the long tail, because we will be sewing those 2 pieces together till the very bottom. But before we can sew it, grab a few stitch markers, or if you don't have them you can use tails of the yarn, and you want to insert your stitch marker into this stitch here, so where you have finished off. Then go to the other side to the left and insert into the stitch 15 stitches apart, so it's 20 stitches there, and this is where one of our handles will be, and these 2 are basically just above the side here. So these 2 squares is the side, and 1 square to the front, and this one at the front as well. Then you want to do the same on the other side. So basically this one here, then 4 squares apart, 20 stitches, insert it in here, and it's again above the side. So these 2 squares are the side, and then these 2 are the front. But yeah, just to mark them, as this is where our handle will be. Now you want to turn your bag inside out so that you have it right sides in, and using a tail left you want to sew those 2 together, making sure that you align all the squares. So my tail is at the top, and I will begin joining from the top down to the bottom. So I'm just gonna go with my needle into this very top stitch there, and using a straight stitch I will go from one side to the other, and then back from the other side to the front, and just like that I will sew it together. Making sure that the colors are aligned. So yeah, I'm just gonna finish off sewing to the very bottom of this bag, and I will meet you then. And when you finish joining, you then will need to hide the tail. So I'm just going into the green because that's the color I used, and I'm just gonna go a couple of stitches one way, then back the other, and one more time just to make sure that tail is secure. Then I'm gonna cut this yarn off. And if I pull it inside out, this is how it will look joined all together here. Now you want to grab your bag from the side where you have your seam, so where we just sewed it together. Insert your hook into this stitch marker on the right hand side and grab your opposite color. And that is pink for me, so I'm just gonna put that around my hook, pull it through, chain 1 to secure it, and I'm gonna go with a single crochet for the next 5 stitches. On the 5th one, I'm gonna change color, and it's to the opposite one, so I'm just gonna grab my green, insert that in, and do another 5 single crochets. So straight into that first stitch of new color, I'm gonna do 5 single crochets. And this is where I will change color again, and you want to do 5 single crochets of each in opposite color until you come to this stitch marker here. And at the end you can take your stitch marker out. This is how your first row will look like. Then you will need to chain 1, turn your work, and if you have multiple bows of colors, you can join with multiple of them. I've got 2 for green, 2 for pink, basically so that I don't have to carry the tails or have them floating, because I won't be adding a lining to the handles itself, so I just added 2 more bows. And this is something you can do too if you've got multiple of them. Then for the next row, you want to do the crease in the first 2 stitches. So pull up a loop in the first one, pull up a loop in the next one, yarn over and pull through all 3. Then complete the next stitches until it's time to change color. So it's 3, then bring your color to the front, or you can also carry it in as well. Then change color, continue making the single crochet until you have 2 stitches left, and I will meet you then as we will be doing the crease. But until then, just make single crochets in the same color that you have for the previous row. And once you have 2 stitches left, you will do the crease. So pull up a loop in the first, pull up a loop in your last stitch, and yarn over, pull through all 3. Then chain 1, turn your work. And now for row 3, we will do just single crochet on top of each stitch in the color that we have before. So I'll do 4 single crochets, and the row 2 had 18 stitches because we decreased by 2, and this row is also gonna be 18 stitches. So I did 4 here, I'm gonna do 5 in next. And change my color. And again 5 in the next 5. And finish off by doing 4 single crochets. Then chain 1 and turn your work. Now row 4 is going to be similar to row 2. 1 decrease in the first 2 stitches, 1 decrease in the last 2. So pull up a loop in the first stitch, pull up a loop in the next one, yarn over and pull through all. Then do 2 single crochets and change color. Do 5 single crochets. Change color, do 5 single crochets. change color, do 2 single crochets, and you will have 2 stitches left in which you will need to do decrease. So pull up a loop in the next 2 stitches, yarn over and pull through all, then chain 1, and row 5 will have 1 single crochet above, so 3 single crochets here, 5, 5 and 3 to finish off. So just complete this row by doing your single crochets, and I will meet you at the end. Now at the end of row 5, this is where we will change the color. So you just want to pull up a loop for a single crochet and change it to the opposite now. Pull it through, chain 1 and turn. Now in the next 2 stitches, pull up a loop to do decrease. In the next one, single crochet, and then change your color. So bring the current one forward to the wrong side and change it. Then in the next 10 stitches you will just do 1 single crochet above, and then I will meet you here when I have 2 stitches left for the decrease. And remember, this row is now worked in the opposite color. And then in the last stitch, pull up a loop, then pull up a loop in the next one, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, chain 1, turn your work. Now for row 7, you will do 1 single crochet above each stitch, and it's not a lot of decrease rows left, just 1 more, so it's gonna get a bit easier with those tails. I know it can be quite confusing, but yeah, just do 1 stitch in each. You should have 14 stitches because the row 4 and 5 had 16, now it's 14, but basically with each decrease row it decreases by 2 because we do 2 decreases. At the end of your row, chain 1 and turn your work. And now row 8 is the last one with the decreases. So we want to do decrease in the first 2. So pull up a loop in the next, pull up a loop in the next one, and drop your color because you will need to change it here since it's the last stitch. Pull it through and do 5 single crochets. Then again change your color, do 5 single crochets, on your last stitch change color and do decrease. So you already know how to do this. And chain 1. This row will have 12 stitches in total, but once you chained, turn your work. For row number 9, we will do single crochet in all stitches. So as you can see, we have decreased by 1 square on both sides, and we will just soon have those 10 stitches only. So in the first stitch, you want to pull up a loop just like so, and change color straight away. Then do 5 single crochets, Again, change color. Do 5 single crochets. Then change color for the very last stitch. Now on your last stitch, don't pull through the current color because you will need to change it. So pull through your next color instead. Chain 1. And then you will need to do your last decrease. So pull up a loop in the next 2 stitches, yarn over and pull through all 3. Then continue making single crochets in the next 4. Change color. Do 4 single crochets. And decrease in the last 2. So pull up a loop in the one, pull up a loop in the next one, and to pull through all 3 you will use your next color because we did 5 rows now and we need to start the new colorway for the next 5 rows. And now we have only 10 stitches and we won't be doing any more decreases, so do a single crochet for each stitch. So I'll do 5, change my color, and do another 5 single crochets in next color. This is where it comes a bit easier because you only need to change in between 2 yarns. So it's a bit more difficult to do decreases, but once you come to this part it's way more easier. So yeah, then chain 1, and you already know that you will need to do another 4 rows in those colors. Then you will need to change the colorways and do the opposite color on top of it until you're happy how long your handle is. And by that I mean that you will need, just one second, and by that I mean that you need to continue doing those rows of 5 stitches in 2 colors until you reach the length of half your handle, because we will be repeating the same steps for the other one as well. So it's only half of your handle that you are now working on. So do as many rounds as you want until it's long enough to be your half handle. So I just did 10 rows, and these are the rows that you will need to be repeating. So again, you would change to opposite color, do 5 rows, and then back to the other one as well, and do it as many times as you want. So I'm gonna do mine, and I will come back to show you what I did. And this is how your handle will look like. So I repeated those 10 rows 2 more times, and it brought me to 40 rows for the handle, starting with this one. You want to finish off with a long tail and then repeat the same thing for your second handle. It's gonna be exactly the same, and hide all the tails. Then once that's done, we will need to join them together, which you can do with your needle, the tail left, and basically folding those 2 ends right sides in so that you have wrong sides out, and you will need to sew it together across those 10 stitches. So starting with the very first one, just gonna go into the side, and to join it you want to go into the inside loops only, so this one and this one, leaving the outside ones unjoined. So just go through the inside loops, making sure that your stitches are aligned. Then also make sure that you secure the very end of your handle. And once that's joined, you will need to go in and hide your tail. And this is how it will look once joined. And this is it. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, don't forget to hit subscribe, like this video, and I'll see you in my next one.